evening, everyone, and welcome to the Manchester United agenda. I hope you're all doing really, really well. And tonight, I'm delighted to be joined by my partner in crime, Mr. Ramondi.
That's a high five. That's a high
five. I thought
five.
you'd be slapping me.
No,
how are you?
I wouldn't dream of it. Big up to Bath time. This is the first eye test of the season, isn't it? And after a good performance and 3 points, I'm looking forward to it. I haven't been in the group or our group chat so much today because I've been really busy. But I understand you've got a few new things, if I'm right. I looked at one post. It looked like we got something new, like graphic-wise.
No, it's just a different perspective of a football thing. No, I have decided to change things a little bit this year. Right. Where this is our third season of the eye test, and
surely not.
It is. It is. No, because we did it with Ollie, I think, as well. We definitely did it with Ragnick. But anyway, I've completely lost my train of thought. Yeah. So I'm trying to do it a little bit differently tonight. Well, don't worry, we still got animations and stuff, but I think that we used to have a lot of theory in it, and I think I'm going to use animations to explain the theory from now on. So there should be less reading and things. But just before I ask how you are and how your weekend was, I just want to say hello to people in the comments. We got Solo, who's still out there doing CPR. We got Steph Griffiths, who's always here. Hello, Steph. And we've got Bilal. I hope you're doing well, Bilal. He's also bigging us up. And then, of course, we've got Simon Warner, and he's saying, "Hope you had a good weekend." I had a very good weekend on Monday. I got absolutely hammered on Friday night. And then on Saturday, I went to watch Alien Romulus.
Oh, don't say no spoilers. No spoilers, because that's a must-watch for me. I saw the trailer when I went to watch Wolverine Deadpool, which was terrible. But I saw the trailer, and me and my missus both said, we need to watch that film. And most people I've spoken to said, they just said, you got to go and watch it.
It's perfectly fine. Like, it's absolutely fine. There is one bit in it, though, which is a bit annoying, but it's perfectly fine.
So out of 10, if you're scoring out of 10, because I'm excited.
For me, yeah. Look, I would give it. I'll give it a generous 5 because it's just the greatest hits of the Alien films put together. So it's all good. But I love the Alien films because I think they speak to deeper stuff. Like Alien is essentially about male sexual assault with pregnancy and things like that. Aliens is about like motherhood and the Vietnam War.
Sorry, stop. Where's the Vietnam War come into that?
The drop ships, the imagery of the space.
Okay, I'm with you.
Like they've got all the equipment. They're really cocky. They go in and they get done by the indigenous guys there. And I think
I like that. It's good. Yeah.
Alien 3, I actually really like. I know a lot of
people. I
remember
Alien 3. Was this?
It's on a prison planet. And
I remember now. Yeah, Sigourney Weaver.
It deals with sort of like rehabilitation and the role of the devil in religion and stuff. Alien 4 is an absolute disaster. I don't like it. Directed by the same guy that did Amelie, which is a wonderful film. It's a French film that is completely different from Aliens.
I have seen that. Sorry, I have seen that. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, the passport photos. Yeah. And so in Alien Romulus, it's perfectly fine.
Sorry, what about Prometheus?
So Prometheus, I really like a lot of the ideas in it, but it's a bad film.
Yeah, but you missed it out. You going? Isn't that Prometheus in order?
Well, I think that Alien versus Predator does what Prometheus tried to do better. To be perfectly honest, but the thing with Alien Romulus is it doesn't have any of this in it. Like there's no sort of greater meaning to it and things, and so it's essentially I don't really like that. So for me, it's a 5. But if you like the Alien films, everything you want is going to be in that film, and it's not like a Marvel film where they make stupid jokes. There is a terrible line in it, which you'll know when you see it. Yeah. But the android character, who's played by a guy from London, is genuinely brilliant. He's a brilliant character. So I'm sure that everyone will enjoy it. Okay, so like, look, Cake's popped in. Oh, good, you're on about alien movies, not football, so I've missed nothing. Who else? Who else have we got in the house this evening before we start? Oh God, no. Yeah, sorry, bruv. We got Shopping Solutions. Hello, sir. Hope you're well. Got Christine Howley, friend of the show. I hope you're doing well. We've got Bart. I hope you're all right, Bart. I wonder how many more Alien films are going to be made. Hopefully, quite a lot. Do you know the correct timeline order to watch Alien bath time? Of course I do. Watch Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, and then don't watch anything else. Okay, go away, Bart. You literally live on another planet. Okay, good. What have we got? Have we got any other? Yes, here we go. We got Hydro. How are you? Prometheus was as good as the first two Alien films.
Thank you.
I know you really like. Look, I like what they tried to do with Prometheus and with Alien Covenant, because they tried to do Paradise Lost with androids and things, and it's all what's beneath the film is all really good, but it's the actual film itself, especially as a man of science, I do not. It's just ridiculous, and they also messed with the alien life cycle too much, which I didn't like.
I disagree. I thought it was superb.
Well, whilst you tell us what you're up to, I'll put a poll in chat about if Prometheus was a good film or not, and we can.
I don't know if anyone's seen it. I don't know if anyone's seen it, but yeah, if you're a big fan of the Alien trilogy or series, sorry, then you would like that. It just takes you away from thing. It gives you a backstory, about why it happened. You had the android in it. You had the guy who, the old guy, wanted to live forever, and then you had the actual original goo, which was created by the people or the beings that started everything. So it gives you, it's good for the head. It makes you think. It makes you think about what was going on. So I liked Prometheus. I thought it was a really good film, and it's always alien. Yeah, that's great. But to see the beginnings, to give you, it's like gives you it's a birth. It's like the genesis of the storyline.
Yeah, I just feel they executed it badly. I'm very on board with all the stuff. I just think it would have been a lot better if it was nothing to do with aliens. That it was just its separate film, and then I think it would have been. I think it would have been brilliant. But anyway,
okay, you're going to lose the poll, by the way, because I can see by the comments, everyone seems to like Prometheus. So put it up and let's see what happens. It'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, it's up. We're at 80 at the moment. It's 80% Prometheus is a good film. All right. So if you enjoy Prometheus, don't let me be the one to tell you that it's a bad film. All right.
That's fine.
It's just not for me. Right. I've got only four animations tonight and a couple of things to talk about. I think that we should probably start off with the goal that we scored. So if you cast your mind back a Monday, I will set it up now.
Seems like a long time ago now, doesn't it? There's been so much football over the weekend. My weekend was eventful as well, so I've forgotten a lot.
Oh, you haven't told us about your weekend. That's very rude of me. What happened?
Oh, well, yeah, it was okay. Very good. Actually, it was really good. It was really good. We had an all-day, once a year party, which starts in the garden and ends up in indoors, and the vibes were brilliant. It was a good day. I spent it with Christine Howley in the comments, my girlfriend. We had a great time. We were dancing together, smooching, romancing. Everything was nice. And I played some music as well. I played a bit of music, and then on Sunday I left at 12 because shut at 1. My brother was there. Big up to Kehinde as well, and my family. A lot of my family were there as well. So it was a really nice day out. And then on the Sunday we had our first pre-season game, and we played against a team who were renowned, very good team. We had 11, bare 11, including me, the manager, and they had 20 odd players rotating in the sun.
Uh-huh.
But we done really well. We were up 4-2 at one point, winning the game, dominating, played really good, and then it just broke down. I think we just didn't have the legs. I played the second half, came at centre back. Me and my brother, I'm just trying to talk things through. And I'm injured, by the way. I've been injured for the last 4 or 5 months, maybe even longer. But I strolled through the game and taught my way through the game. So when it comes to anything defensively on tonight's show, hand it over my way, bro, because I look.
And look at this. We Deserve Better is extremely let down that you have a girlfriend.
What does that mean? We deserve better. What did you expect me to have? I do have a partner. Yes, I do.
I'm thinking more that he wanted something more from you. But anyway,
He's single.
Well, look, enough
Have
of
I
it.
blown your buzz?
Yeah. Oh, I just want to do a bloody football show.
Yeah.
I'm going to share my entire screen, and we're going to get back into it.
Yes, I can't wait. This is it. Back to the eye test. My favorite.
Okay. All right. So this is the 86th minute. Kenny has the ball. Just talk us through it a couple of times, then we'll break it down. Okay.
Okay. So Fulham have got the ball here. We've camped back. We've got a lot of players behind the ball, deep in our half. This is what you call a low block, probably. Now Bruno's starting to close them down, and so is Jay-Z. I love the name. And they're trying to play inside to Iwobi. Does he get pinched here? No, yep, he does get pinched, and we receive the ball back to the keeper, Nana, who's got good distribution. He plays it wide to Martinez, who's in the left back area, but he picks it up by Bruno, drives forward here, plays it, looks head up, plays it into a guy who's drifted up to get some space, plays it wide to Garnacho, who crosses the ball, and it's a lovely, lovely guided finish into the back of the net. So that was a lovely transition. Once again, guys, this is late in the game. We've got Jay-Z on the pitch, or Xerxes. They've given up the ball. Dallo's played it home. Start again. Let's recycle. Start again. Martinez with that lovely left foot. Great pass with the ball. Gives it to Bruno. Somehow he drops a shoulder on Kearney. Kearney's missing. He drives into space. And someone who's created a lot of space there all by himself by peeling off his Xerxes. He gives the 1-2, similar to what happened in the Community Shield. And bam, an overlap in the Community Shield with Garnacho. And this time, another beautiful cross there from Garnacho into the danger area. And Xerxes attacked the space.
So should we break this down a little bit, Amonde, whilst you curate the comments for us?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I can't see the screen.
Okay.
And can you see me drawing?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good stuff. All right. So the first thing is there's really good work here from Rashford, Bruno, and Xerxes. Oh, my computer feels slow tonight. But anyway, if you watch, Rashford puts pressure on the ball, but very importantly, cuts that pass out to Pereira there. I was very impressed with Rashford's defensive work in the game. I'm also really pleased with Bruno because Rashford is protecting the ball going this way. Bruno is protecting the ball into the pivot there, which is Lukic. So Kenny has to play the ball back, and Bruno follows the pass. Excellent stuff. But what's really important here, and this is so good from Xerxes, is he gets ahead of Lukic. This is something that you want all your strikers to do, is to make sure that the pivot doesn't get a pass into him. So Bruno, to be honest, should probably be curving his run a little bit. And that's why Xerxes needs to be here to stop the ball going into Lukic. So if you imagine Lukic is Rodri, this is how we always try and stop the ball getting into Rodri.
Right.
So that's really, really, really good. And then Xerxes can jump. And he doesn't get it quite right. But Bassi, who is left foot and is coached to receive it on his far foot, that is going to be the angle that opens up for him because Garnacho has followed Iwobi, and we've got this lovely block that has developed in this area here. So far, this is extremely impressive, the 86th minute of the first game where players are tired. And then there's a little mix up here. All right, this is positional football. Iwobi has got behind and between Garnacho and Casemiro. And Garnacho's approach to Robinson hasn't cut this pass out. And Casemiro is stuck between... Ideally, Casemiro would like to be on Lukic, and he'd probably like Scott to be around on this side, or maybe even below. But things don't always happen like that. And then Casemiro does really, really well here. Iwobi doesn't take the greatest touch, to be honest. but it gets forced out wide, and we regain the ball. And a lot of the reason we regained the ball was because of the work of these 3 players here, because they applied pressure with intent and correctly. And now we get some really weird stuff. So, ball comes out to Onana, and Martinez, who's playing at left back at this point, goes to widen the pitch. Ball gets played out, and he plays a poor touch. He has a bad touch on the ball. But what I find really interesting is Johnny Evans' position here, because this is something that Heath does all the time, and I kind of understand why he does it, as we're going to see here. But I still think it's I think it's a bit too courageous, because Pereira's job, right, is to bounce onto Onana if the ball gets across. Yeah. Wilson, however, has got to block a passing lane, and Wilson needs to step inside to stop that ball into Evans. And what that means is there's more space to get it down the line. And also, if United decide to, what they can also do is they can bait the press a little bit here, because in this corner, right, I wish this would draw correctly. I'm going to get really frustrated. In this corner here, you can see we're even, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Over here, we've got a box with these players here. I would think that normally what would happen is the ball would get back into Onana, and then we'd look to sort of combine with these players here, because we're in a better structural position. All right. But Martinez takes a poor touch, and I think this is why this happens, is he then bangs it down the line. Kenny, a little bit slow, extremely weak, gets turned. So now this is a defending question for you.
Yeah.
Right. Everyone who is behind the ball is out of the game. So United have 1, 2, 3, let's say 4, 5 players, and Fulham have got 5 players as well. So what you do in this situation is you give up space, and you don't commit yourself.
Yep.
Now, for me personally, I would expect Tete to go out to the ball here, because he's the wide defender, and Lukic can drop in here, and you're still having a structure in the middle of the pitch, but Lukic goes to the ball.
I think that's right, though.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't. I just think you want to get in the centre.
If you take it back to there, so they've given up the ball, they've got a ball through, and Bruno's turned and running at them now. And like you said, it's 5-5. So Bassi and the boys, Diop and Tete, they got Rashford, who's got a load of space to run into, who's making a diagonal in the channel between the two centre back and the fullback there, and that's occupying their attention. So they're waiting for someone like the midfielder to go over, rather than them breaking their block or their shape, because they've got Rashford who can run into that space with pace.
Maybe.
I think that would be their mindset, not to go out for Tete to go out to Bruno.
Yeah, I do understand it, because Tete is, you're going to assume, be better at defending the wide areas than Lukic. But maybe Diop can. I'm not sure. But anyway, another key part of this is obviously Scott McTominay. Because if I take it back a little bit to here, Scott starts here. Watch Scott's run.
Yeah.
Pereira, right, sees that Lukic, he's got his body in between. He's done okay here. He's put his body in between the ball and the goal. He's trying to hold Bruno up. Scott is making the run, and that means that Pereira has to really go with him. And Rashford is also making a run. And our boy here, Jay-Z, shows some real understanding of a football match, because he stops, and McTominay's run drags Pereira out of the way to create the pass in here with all this space, Casemiro at right back and Garnacho holding some width. So then ball gets up to Jay-Z. He advances to draw Bassi, and then he plays a ball that, to be honest, it's not really for Garnacho. It's not really for Casemiro, but Casemiro just takes control of the situation. He gets it. He plays it through. And now, just as the cross is about to go in, this is positional football, okay, where we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in attack. We've got more than enough to cover in defence. We've essentially got a 4-on-1 with Jimenez, but Bruno and Jay-Z are sort of between the lines. So these guys have to come up to deal with. I'm just drawing loads of silly arrows. These two here have to deal with Jay-Z and Bruno. You've got McTominay as a central threat, and you've got Rashford occupying the wide area. So if Garnacho checks, for example, and pops it here, Casemiro's got a half-space cross with 3 men coming in. Lots of options, but Garnacho plays it into that space, and Jay-Z he's got blindside of Pereira, and Lukic doesn't react fast enough, and then he applies that lovely finish. And that's our first goal. There's quite a lot going on there, I feel.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you've broken it down really well there, Bath Time. I think when you look how deep we are as a team, sometimes it's hard to get out. And just going back, if you can go take it way back for me, please.
To the start?
Yeah, it's almost to the start. Stop. Okay. Stop right there.
Sorry.
So, yeah, so in a position like this, we've got both our forwards. We've got Bruno and Jay-Z. Shall we call him Jay-Z for the show? Does anyone get it? Xerxes. Those two are pressing as a 2, it looks like. And you said this is what happened to us on Sunday about pressing. Should the guys go out and press like that? And should the defensive line and midfield line need to come up as well to compress the space, you know? So I'm thinking back to my Sunday game where there was an argument about how we press and when we press. So when they're playing it around like this, like what's Fulham going to do here, you were in admiration for how we pressed here. So it's important to see what was the trigger and how we pressed, and did the back line come up as well?
I'm just going to interrupt you there, Monday. The next animation we have is going to deal with all of this.
Okay, that's fine then. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, Monday doesn't know.
We haven't conferred before the show.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. But I'm pleased that you're going to be touching on that because that's in my head right now. Because we had this is great for football teams. And it's great for the social life as well to have discussions like this in our Sunday team and seeing it in action, how the pros do it as well. So I'm really interested to see how this was so effective because Man United have had issues with this. And does the defensive line come up as well as a unit so we don't just sit back and get played in here. So, yeah, what a good goal. By the way, what a great finish. And for his Xerxes, as we said the other day, the way he can create his own space by just, like you said, just standing still sometimes. You don't have to be bombing on. He stops right there. Bassi's, can't really stay.
That's a false sign for you.
Yeah, for sure. He plays it really well, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And then, just not just that, when he picks up the ball initially, Xerxes, he's got an opportunity to drive at the defence and maybe commit some players. But he thinks, no, I'm playing out wide because there's 2 players there, unselfish, and just runs into the box, knowing that basically you've got option here to play it into the box. We've got numbers in the box, get it in there. And he was good decision making there.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if he continues this in terms of like going out wide and then bursting into the box because I agree with you. It's really interesting that he doesn't just drive at Bassi. But I'm going to stop sharing now, and we can just look at some comments. And maybe bring this back up. So what?
Okay, not really comments so much. I think people are just taking it all in. But I want to say hi to Weezer Betty saying Xerxes was his man in the match, followed by Maz, the right back, and. They were talking about Maguire, his performance as well, and how good it is. I want to say hi to Trap Sports as well. Hope you're tuning in today and enjoying this. Great goal by ZZ Top. That's his new name. I think Stephanie's got claim to that. She invented that name. and will he start ZZ Top to start this Saturday as well? Here's another comment just coming in. Xerxes scored that goal scored that goal with a very tight space. So
good Mark is a really, really good player. All right. You were talking about pressing in Sunday League and how professionals do. Is there anything else you want to talk about on the first goal before we move on to the next thing?
All the things we want to see progression, don't we, as a team and energy. So the first thing you're saying is, okay, we got new players on the pitch who can do the work. Mason Mount done fantastic. I've gone and watched bits of the game. I thought Mason Mount was really working hard in the final third to close things down and pressing. And his energy is really good. He'd be a nightmare to play Piggy in the middle with, because he would just eat you up every time. He really works hard in those sort of areas. And there's one time he was hassling Bassey and all these guys. And there's one time as well where he took a yellow card and ran about, must be a good 40 yard sprint, and took a card on the new boy from Smith Rowe because they were breaking and just stopped the play. So I'll give him credit. Little things like that I didn't notice when I was watching live so much. I've gone back and watched the game like when I'm sort of doing stuff in the kitchen or whatever. And I was really impressed by Mount. But then you need the energy to go for 90 minutes. I think with the change of guard, we got new players coming on the pitch, 5 subs allowed. We had the energy there to do a transition in the 86th minute with fresh players as well, and work that kind of press. So that's impressive for me. And also the way that we were sitting back 0-0. You could get a bit anxious at home. Okay, we're going to see a draw here. Fulham are sort of probing, and then suddenly we're able to break, play good clean passes. I don't know how many passes were involved, but they were direct, positive, and start from the keeper as well. And these are things we want to see. And we did create a lot of chances, by the way. We had a lot of chances in that game. So all the fan base should be optimistic about creating chances and finishing our dinner now, because it's going to be a long season. And I think the longer it goes on, we will improve step by step.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I think so.
Hopefully. All right. So let's talk about pressing now. I am a great believer that in order to understand something, you need to do it. And I understand a lot of people haven't gone out and played in an organized press. So what that means is you get a lot of sort of conflicting information and different things. What I've done now is prepared the absolute basics of a press, right? It's not going to have everything in it tactically, but when we go through this, I think that you'll be in a better position, sort of identify and critique the press that Manchester United are trying to play. So I'll get it up now, and we can go through it. And if anyone wants to ask about specific things, then maybe we can deal with that. But as I say, this is the press in its most sort of its purest form. So I will get that up, and then I will do this. I've forgotten how much bloody button pushing I have to do. All right. Present. Here we go. Sorry about that delay. Okay. Get it nice and big. So this is a different angle, Amondo. And this is just a standard 4-4-2 high block playing against a team that are doing nothing. They're doing nothing to prepare for the press. So I'm going to show it to you, and then we're going to talk through it. Okay?
Okay.
That's it. That is your bog stand. That is the bog standard, most basic press.
Yeah.
All right. And these are the key things. All right. First of all, the number 9 is going to do something called conditioning the play. And all that means is he's going to force the goalkeeper to go to one side. So when you see teams pressing on the ball, they will all really just stand there until the goalkeeper gets it, and then they'll try and force the goalkeeper one side. So here, this is exactly what our number 9 does. is he's going to cut off this side of the pitch, right? This area of the pitch is now shut down. And the next thing that happens is this is called the weak side winger. He's going to come inside, and the centre midfielders, the 6 and the 8, are going to lock on to their men. But they're going to do it in a very specific way where they're going to lock on the inside. So let's just get them all in there. So you can see that every man is on this side of the player.
Right.
Okay. I know you understand why I'm on there, but tell me. Actually, we'll wait. We'll just wait, and then maybe that'll do it better. Now, number 10, who is the secondary striker, has got an interesting job, because what he's got to do is he's got to make sure that the ball cannot go inside. Okay, whilst also applying pressure. Okay, so he wants to take away any inside pass from this number 4, and then the 11, the winger, is going to push up hard, which is making a 2v1 almost. The strong side fullback is going to cover. And then to compensate for that, this fullback and these guys make a back 3. And the number 9 takes away the passing option back to the goalkeeper.
So many things have to work for this to be effective. This is professional, but obviously when I'm looking at my Sunday thing, so many things would have to work. But yeah, there's a comment here. You can't see it, but after it's Chat Sports. Chat Sports is basically saying this is simple, really, but it's having to get all the players to sort of do it at the right time, the trigger at the right time to sort of put them under pressure.
Yeah, what you also have to take into account is that the other team are doing nothing to stop this press, right?
Yeah.
Like, so there's lots of different things that teams will do. For example, Pep's standard thing when playing against a 4-4-2 press is that these two here, the 8 and the 10, go as wide as possible, and the 9 comes in, Haaland, to try and receive the ball, which is where all these comments about Haaland being a League 2 striker outside of the box comes from, because he's not very good at dealing with that ball. There's lots of little different things that teams can do to try and resist the press, but this is the press in its most pure form, where you are conditioning play to get the ball in a certain area, which is here, and then you're squeezing this way and this way, in order that you're in a better position to win the ball back in these areas. But hopefully you get a turnover around here, because if, for example, we go here, if you now turn the ball over in this central area, you've got a really good chance of getting one of your strikers through 1v1. Yeah. So once again, this is just the basics of a press. There's loads more things to it, but this is essentially how a press works. Shut one side of the pitch off, wingers come in, your striker stops the ball going inside, the other winger applies a bit of pressure, everyone shifts across, and then you win the ball high up the pitch, or you're able to defend the channel and get it back. And that is just a really, really simple press. Is there any comments or
Not really, no. Well, there is. Just going back. Andrew's in the house. Just welcome, Andrew. How you doing? And no one else is thinking that a half decent team will put a few past us. That's from Chat Sport as well. Here we go. Yeah, we've got a couple of comments here about the press. V, how you doing, V? Is saying Mason Mount phenomenal at pressing. It makes up for the fact that he has little else to offer. United fans expect more than an energetic player for 55 million, and rightly so. And then also saying playing an organised press is very difficult because one person not putting his or her weight can ruin it. That's a very good point.
Yeah, that's why you train. That's true of anything in football, defending a corner, doing anything. If one player is messing about and not committed, you'll get done.
Just for example, so we were a bit gassed in the second half, and so what would happen is, we would try to shuffle over and press them, but they were playing diagonals. So when we were getting high up the pitch, trying to press like that in that situation, no one was pressing the 4 and they were able to have time and space to play big diagonals. And then with us sort of having a three at the back because we wanted the fullback would push on a little bit, we were in trouble because no one was pressing correctly. Do you see what I'm saying? So in that position there would be no 10 or 11 red around the 4, and then you'd have their number 3 bombing on for that diagonal ball.
Yeah, this is the most important thing to take away from a press, is that there are the two most important things, right? Are access to the ball, which means that like players have got to be in the right position to be able to press. But the most important thing is pressure on the ball. If there's no pressure on the ball, even at Sunday League level, you can hit these players out here, right? And a lot of the time, you'll find that it's the goalkeepers that will hit them because the 9 hasn't applied enough pressure on the ball here to sort of stop that pass. But so essentially, this is just the very basics of what a press is. So I just let it play out and stop sharing. So was that of any use to you, Armando?
Well, I understand it. It's just that I think the difficult thing is if you don't train, getting the whole team to do that, know the time to do it. So you could, like you said, you dictate to them where you want to play. And then the time to strike is when it goes to that left side or the right, the wide guy in defence. Then you can start shuffling over and then jumping. As you saw, the fullback jumped on, the winger jumped on to the next man. And you have to be maybe signal, whatever, communicate. There has to be everyone on the same page, understanding when is the right time to do it. And I think without training and sort of regular reinforcement of this, it's difficult to get everyone to do that at the time. And sometimes you could try to do something, and it's like V said in the comments, if one man lets you down, then they could be open to exploit you, which what happened to us the other day.
All right. Well, we've got 3 more clips. Would you like to see one that involves a press?
Yes, please. This is from the game, right?
This is from the game.
From the Fulham. Yeah, good. Yeah, let's do this. Just quickly, half time. Big G's saying here. He's big up to Big G, by the way. He says, "Can you provide analysis on Bruno's inability to press properly by half time and how it affects the midfield?" That's one point. And are we going to go with the same players for the Brighton game? They've got a new manager, 31 years old, by half time. I don't know if you
ridiculous. He's younger than James Milner.
I know. No, it's madness.
He's 31, so he would have
31.
been 12. No, he'd have been 11 when James Milner made his 10 when James Milner made his debut in the Premier League. Absolutely outrageous. I'll tell you what, Big G, I can absolutely do that, and I can do it tonight. But we'll see how we'll see how we do for time, and then I will tell you what Bruno's problem is with the press, and it's actually about that thing, access to the ball, because what he's doing or trying to do is a very standard midfield pressing trigger, but I agree with you, he gets it wrong all the time. Anyway, let us see what I have here. So, okay, 27th minute. This is open play. Leno's on the ball. Are you ready?
Yep, got him. Yep. So Leno's played it to the centre back. Bassi left-footed. He's played it to his fullback. He's on the touchline. Plays it inside to Iwobi. Plays it back home. Bruno puts a bit of pressure on. So does Rashford. But the keeper plays it, and I remember this. They cut it out, and we get an opportunity to score. So once again, this is from a press. We get an opportunity to shoot on target. Iwobi plays it home to Bassi, who's under a bit of pressure there. So the only option is play it to Leno, who plays a first-time pass into the midfield pivot guy, and the pass doesn't come off, and we get an opportunity on goal. So when it broke down, when we put the pressure on, we had 3 players in good positions to get off. And I think this is the one where Bruno tried to, without the sign of his foot, is that right? Yeah. He could have squared it. But it's got a good opportunity, and it's come from the press, no?
Yeah, it's absolutely come from the press. So let's go through it then. Okay, so they're making a back 3. We've got a front 3. All right,
narrow.
Narrow. First thing that they want to do as a 3 is to stop the ball getting played into the pivots or into a central area. So they're just waiting here to see where the ball goes. When it goes out, now the press is on. If you remember, we're looking for Rashford to come inside. We're looking for Maz to step up. We're looking for Delo to make a back three. And we are looking to stop the ball let's just say we're looking to stop the ball being switched by anyone but the goalkeeper.
Right.
Okay. And everyone else is going to be locking on. Okay. Locking on to their players. And we don't want any passes inside. All right. So we get out here and Ahmad, not quite good enough. Okay. He lets the pass inside. Mazraoui, little bit late. Casemiro in a decent position, but Bruno in an excellent position, because Bruno's job is to try and stop the ball to the goalkeeper, and he's done this, right? Because we would ideally like to play that ball straight home there, and then they can get out, but he can't, so he has to play it down here because of the position. I'm having mouse problems. Ball comes out, and we're in a spot of bother here, Monday. If Leno gets that ball, Leno can make that pass. And then there's a 2v1 with effing Adama Traore, which you don't want to be in. But here you can see that we've made a good shape here. We've got this player locked on here, and this is the key thing: is Bruno is stopping that pass inside, and Mount is applying the pressure, which is exactly what we want. And all our midfielders here have kind of locked in on the inside. Rashford is gambling, but this is the right thing to do, because Rashford's work here again is actually much more important than I think people realise, because he has got himself to cut that pass out, right? And now Kobe is on Pereira, Mount and Casemiro are on Lukic. Really, you've got to punt it here, in my view. But he shanks the pass. It goes through. Rashford is offside. So Rashford does well. But this is why people love the press so much, because it's more man and ball orientated rather than zone orientated. We're able to get Bruno through, and Bruno can't quite do it. But also, what I really like, Ahmed recovers the ball because our structure is good. And so when you see it again, I think V was saying 55 million for a player that just presses, not good enough. The whole reason you press is because it creates chances. And like if you can get loads of chances from your press over a season, Mason Mount, who's one of the best in the league at doing it, is definitely worth 55 million. Just off his pressing, in my opinion. And for you watching Big G, Bruno actually does really well here. But I agree with you, he needs some work on his pressing. And he should score that. So anything to add, Monday?
Yeah, stop.
Oh.
When it goes back to Bassi, now, stop it, please. Oh, sorry. It goes to Iwobi. Stop right there. So because you said earlier, which is true, the fundamentals is to protect the middle. Iwobi is playing the way he's facing, as most pros do. You don't want to get pinched in that area there. And he plays at home to start again. Bassi, his options here are limited. He's only got one option, which we are dictating. I think this is good. When you're working together in unison, it means we can dictate, as you said earlier, where they play the ball next, which is there's only one option here.
Those are his options.
Yeah, crash it or keeper. And so it's like my point is that so good. Oh, look at Mount there going to. So Mount's gone from wide and gone into the midfield to close down what he anticipates will be. Okay, so it's about dictating to teams and getting turnover high up the pitch. So Mount, done really well there. I've really
well. The only thing I would say The only criticism I would have is here, is with Casemiro and Ahmad, which can improve, is that Casemiro doesn't have a relationship with Mazraoui. And so he doesn't at this moment know really which is the player that he wants to be getting on here, because he doesn't know if Mazraoui is aware of the situation or what Mazraoui's distances are, etc. Okay. So Casemiro's actually done okay here, even though it looks like he's in no man's land. This is probably the right thing to do because Ahmad has allowed that pass inside. Ahmad's starting position is too wide, right? Because we are looking to either win the ball in this area or this area. What we absolutely don't want is the ball going in there. So this is something that I think we will see develop. But I've noticed that Ahmad he's not quite there yet with where he needs to be on the press. For example, if Ahmad was on the weak side, he tends to be in this position here instead of the side where Rashford is. And to be honest, I wouldn't mind Rashford to be even more inside, like to really squeeze the play. But really good building blocks here. So maybe Hacker and Ten Hag have kind of like got through to the players what the point is. And Casemiro, once again, does really well with that, with executing that pass. So I think that this is a good example of our pass, and hopefully we'll go.
I think most people remember that chance as well. So it's not, it's all right creating a chance, but the point is, it's created by an organised press. Yeah, the system's creating it. So rather than saying, "Oh, Bruno missed a sitter" or whatever, it's a good chance that's been created by the work that they're doing behind the scenes on the coaching training grounds, by all the coaches to get a bit of aggression. I saw some clips with Ruud van Nistelrooy clawing. They were playing as like a small-sided game, maybe 3-on-3 or something. He was demanding more from the two strikers to work to close down and giving it some as well. And you have to sort of respect that as well to say how important it is. You don't just stop what you're doing. So Rashford, for example, was one of the guys, and Zerchi. You've really endorsed Rashford there for his work in sort of
do you remember Newcastle away last season where Rashford and Martial were like fighting with each other and Ten Hag on the pitch? It was dreadful.
But yeah, go on. What was happening?
Martial's quite good in a press, to be honest. And he was trying to close stuff down, and Rashford was in the wrong place, and they were arguing with each other. Ten Hag was shouting at them. It was. I
do remember now. Yeah, I do remember.
It was just really horrible. It was like it just looked like we were a bunch of amateurs. We looked like a Sunday league team, to be honest. Like everyone blaming each other. And fast forward a couple of months, and everyone seems to be on the same page and kind of, whilst they're not getting the particulars of it right, the sort of universal concept appears to be in place. And it's great to have a player like Mazraoui, who just, all professional footballers should understand the press, but he understands he's got to step up and get on a Wobie, Delo going in. Doesn't matter if you're left back or a right back, he's tucking in to make that back three. So there's lots of stuff there that's good. And to be honest, the biggest problem is Bruno not finishing it. And Bruno's a killer, so it's annoying.
Which is good. I'm not saying he misses or anything, but the opportunity is there. But that rather than saying, "Oh, it broke down," or "certain man's not putting the work in," or we couldn't press properly. So that's all positive for me. I like that. And I'm glad you brought up that example at halftime, because that's a good opportunity made by the system, by the press. So credit to the backroom staff and the manager as well for forcing it on.
Have we got some comments?
Yeah, we do. I'm just going to come to you guys now. Guys, make sure you get some comments in about the topic, and I will read them out. Why is Bruno not squaring that so bad? So obviously, once again, that's from Kate.
Come on, Kate. Every player in the world has taken a shot there.
Talking about Mason Mount, I think he will win people over, especially if you watch this show and doing stuff like this. We will highlight how effective he can be with his game. Are we going to start Mount on Saturday? It's a good question. After we've seen Zerchi come on and score, Bilal saying here he needs to do more than just pressing. Talking about Mount again.
I suppose it's about the principles of the team, Bilal, which is that we're looking for things to happen first, and then we can add quality to them. Like, this is the way that we want to play, which is like high line, lots of pressure on the ball, everyone understanding what it is. And like, look, there's no player in the world that we can sign that gets us to the league title this year. So what we need to do is we need to get a foundation in place for like, so that we can build season by season, and then we're in a position to attack the title. So maybe you're right, you know, and Mount in a Champions League winning team needs to do more, but we're not in that situation yet. So for the moment, he's very, very good for what we're trying to do, and we can evaluate him in 2 seasons, see where we are. For me.
So Big G is saying, obviously, he was asked the question about Bruno. He said, I'll stop criticizing Bruno as soon as he starts pressing properly. 100%, he's saying, or 100. This proves my point. If he does it correctly, happy days, we get chances. When he doesn't, the midfield folds. Simon Warner, how you doing? Said Bruno is trying to prove his worth now that he has signed a new contract. Big G again saying it's a bit early, like maybe some analysis on set pieces by half time. Since we have now employed a specific set piece coach. He's read your mind. Chat Sport saying here, Rashford doesn't suit a pressing team. He wants to sit on the last man for a through ball. That's from Chat Sport.
I don't know, Chat Sport. I understand, right, what you're saying, because the narrative is that Rashford just works well on the counter attack and all these other sort of like truisms. But I know it's just one game. But I was very impressed with Rashford's off the ball work. And as I keep having to say, I'm not his biggest fan, Rashford. But if he keeps doing that kind of stuff off the ball with intent and working for his teammates, I see no reason not to love him.
So yeah, obviously a tap in for Rashi, that's all he needs for the goal. But was he offside?
I don't know, but I can't look. No one is telling me that you blame you blame like Bruno for taking the shot there. Every player in the world takes that shot.
And we created a lot of chances. So Bilal's asking to talk about Garnacho miss. Oh my gosh,
that was
left-footed. He could have just slotted it in. I think this happens sometimes. I don't think he would do that all the time. I think it was a bad pass from Rashi. As to why Garnacho missed, I imagine he's saying that.
Garnacho should score that every single day of the week.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care how bad the pass is. Garnacho thought he scored, didn't make good contact with the ball. I wouldn't expect that from someone in my 5-side team, to be honest. You can blame Rashford as much as you want, but that's Garnacho just switching off.
And Andrew Williams saying here, are United the most boring team in the Premier League? We won't sell Rashford. Okay, and Everton the most boring, says Bila. Yeah, so good opportunity there created by an improving press from United and organisation. We were getting on the same page, isn't it? It's about being on the same page with your brothers out there on the
page. Okay, I think. I forgot. Right.
Set pieces. I think you were saying you're going to bring.
Oh, I don't. I think I've mistitled this, but I'm hoping that this is the right clip. I can't remember what this is, to be honest, but I'll soon work it out.
We'll all be surprised.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll just share this one. Oh, please work. Okay. All right. This is a throw-in with Ahmad in the 33rd minute. This is Bruno's chance that he was given by Casemiro.
Okay. I vaguely remember, but this will come back to me as soon as I see this animation. All right. So opportunity here is Ahmad throwing into Maz, who cuts him side, plays to Martinez, the lovely left foot, plays it into Kobe, picks it up, looking for options, plays it into Casemiro, who's in between the lines, and he plays a ball, a lovely ball, by the way, into Bruno, and the keeper comes out, hits his feet, I recall. So playing between the lines there, and this is it continued. Okay, so Maz comes inside, plays into Kobe. Kobe's got time and space, and he looks up. It gets a slight deflection there, but it gets to Casemiro, and Casemiro gets the return and plays a lovely weighted pass into Bruno, who makes a great run, by the way, and that was a good opportunity.
Yeah, so I've brought this up to illustrate zonal play, because it's going to contrast with the next clip that I show. All right, so what's quite right, basic throw in. This is always what I think you want to do from throw-ins is you want to work it to someone in the center because that means that you can switch the ball, or so you're looking to switch it out there. But if there's a gap, you can find it because the block is moving across. So from throw-ins, I always like to see the ball get played centrally. Gets through to Martinez. Kobe is sort of in behind and in between. And here, this is what I really like, is we've got Rashford, Mount, and Casemiro occupying these four here. And we've got Delo in a huge amount of space over here. And we can get it to him. Like, so, because Kobe can pop that back here, Martinez can switch it. There's loads of different ways that we can get it across. And this is us manipulating the block. Because of this false nine system, Bassi and Diop they're not as tight as they would be on a traditional striker.
True.
And so, like with these two players, Bruno and Mount, we're occupying four of their players, which is really, really good.
Good observation. It's true.
Yeah, we've got Casemiro and Rashford sort of in between the lines, as it were. This is what Ten Hag wants. And then, if you watch Bruno's movement here, I really like this. So he starts off here, and Bruno is going to pull into this area here between the lines. And what that does is two things. One is it's going to widen the block, yeah, and it's also going to create an overload in this area here with the low if it goes out there. So good stuff here from Bruno. And that run is what lets Kobe get the ball through. And I don't know if you want to say that's well defended or a poor pass, but Lukic gets his toe on it. But because of how we've occupied the spaces, we're in a really good position to counter press. And here, this is their striker, Munoz. We've got two on him, and we've got two on the second striker. So we're very, very unlikely to get done here, with the possible exception of if they hit it here and Adama just turns the afterburner on. Yeah. But I still think that we're all right in that position, to be honest. And then just a lovely bit of play. And Bruno, who starts off the move like here, has now got round and is on the end of a third man combination. Once again, doesn't put it away. But I thought that this was a really good illustration of, for the first time in a long time, of United. And then we recycle the ball. That's why I put that in. But this is us trying to manipulate a block. And that's Bruno manipulating the block, Mount holding his position, playing a bounce pass, Bruno getting in round the back. Their defence is sleeping. Bruno should score. So is there anything that you'd like to add to that, Amonde?
Yeah, just watching Ahmad's run. So Ahmad's played the throw in there. He's trying to get into the side. He's come inside, then he's looked up because he sees Kobe got the ball. He's stretched it as well. So he's trying to block and give Robertson a nightmare because Robertson's got Casemiro running, could have run the channel, but he's had to go over to open to like increase the distance between him and the centre back by looking after Ahmad.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's a really good point. That
but you've obviously picked that up from the movement. I wouldn't have seen that on the pitch.
Well, he's stretching the back four, and that's what allows Casemiro the ability to the space really to get that in. And Delo is also like on the other side, giving Tete something to think about. But I just thought this was a sort of illustration of how United are kind of getting there with things like their positional play, their zonal play, as it were. Because
so if you just go back a little bit, where you've got the Bruno and kind of Mount kind of pinning, or was it Bruno and Mount and Casemiro kind of pinning these guys in Rashford?
I can't take it back far enough. So it's here.
Okay. So the purpose of this, you're saying, well, why is Casemiro not playing as a number 6, and people don't identify him as number 6. I don't agree with these positions or number 6. Or I think Casemiro is doing something for the team here. He's left his sort of so-called formation position and decided to put, get in between the lines and put pressure on the defence and put numbers there.
Well, Casemiro's ended up here because it's a throw-in, and Casemiro is the guy he slid, and it came off Robinson. But so what he's done is the right thing, to be honest, because the whole point of our system is to occupy areas. And when this starts off, Mount is working as the striker, Casemiro in a half space, Rashford in a half space. We've got two central midfielders able to sort of join the attack, and we've got a lovely diagonal out here. That means that, so this like curve here means we shouldn't leave the ball, and we've also got probably our best long range passer on his right foot here, ready to hit this area if needs be. So this is a really, really nice.
So my point is, I mean, with the two options we have with Xerxes and Haaland, what would be the difference? Because obviously that's going to be the main talking point coming up. If Haaland gets fit again,
this is the difference.
What's going to be the main difference? Like when we see Mount here playing as a 10 and pushing on. And,
look, Højlund should be in this position where Mount is. Like when this happens, it's whether he can play the bounce pass back to Casemiro. That's what the difference is, because that is actually back to goal play from Mason Mount that is better than Rasmus Højlund.
So if Xerxes on the pitch, he would be where Mount is as well. Yeah.
Well, it depends, because Mount and Bruno and Xerxes and Bruno are going to swap. So when you play like a false 9, a lot of the time you're dropping into the midfield to create a diamond kind of structure, and it gives the centre backs with some issues because they don't quite know whether to go or to stay. But this is proper. We're entering something called third phase play here, and in third phase play, what you want is all your zones occupied to stretch that back four and allow you to manipulate the block. So even though Mount isn't really playing, he's playing as a 9 here, like not a false 9. He's playing as a 9, but he is the reference point for the attack because he's sticking these two players. Okay, and then Bruno. So what I think you could see is you would normally kind of expect that movement coming in from Mount and Bruno coming off round here, and maybe even Casemiro and Rashford making those runs. But what happens is that Bruno just drifts into the space, and he drifts into that space because of the zonal position, like the zonal system that we use. So I don't know if Højlund would maybe run a channel here or try and do something, but Mount does the right thing by staying there, and then more importantly has the quality to just to be the first part of the 3-man combination that gives Bruno another tap in my opinion.
So with obviously we come up against teams who are really solid, not denying us space to play through. Sometimes in the past we've been guilty of sort of playing a percentage ball, low percentage ball, or dinking it over the top, or trying to play a cross-field pass or something. This what we're showing here, highlighting here, is how to open up things. But what it needed is the run from Bruno. That's the key thing. He's coming, the run from Bruno to sort of show and get in behind, and obviously to stretch the defense as well. What Ahmad did, or Dalot gave Tete. You can see Tete in his vision. Had to sort of keep an eye on him as well. So it's got to be some sort of movement when we've got the ball in this sort of position.
Because
and
what
between the lines as well, like Casemiro is definitely in between the lines, looking for the pass.
Okay. So you're right in the sense that what we're doing here is by being static, like these players, Ahmad, Rashford, and Mount, is that they've fixed this back line into place. And when you have two players between the lines, as we do with Bruno and Casemiro here, they then have access to these areas here. And if Casemiro goes, Bassey maybe goes with him, maybe Robinson goes with him. But these guys that are in the block are unable to go with him because he's behind and between.
Sure.
And that means that you're going to create a space somewhere. So if Casemiro goes, ideally you want your central midfielder to go with him, but you would then expect Robertson to go with him. And then that opens up space here. So
Sure.
Wobie then has to get out here. And more spaces are being worked. And then what you would expect a top team to do is find a way of getting the ball here as quickly as possible for Delo or for Rashford to have a one-on-one. And if you want an example of that, in the FA Cup final, the amount of times Doku was running at Aaron Wan-Bissaka was because City were doing this. They were dragging us all over the place on one side of the pitch and then getting it out with time and space to Doku. And Wan-Bissaka, thankfully, was able to deal with it.
Okay.
So that's kind of positional play.
Makes a lot of sense.
Is that okay?
Yeah, you explained really well. Makes a lot of sense to me.
All right, I'll stop sharing and deal with any comments then. I hope everyone's enjoying this.
I am, for sure. Just going back to, okay, this is a good one from Kate Cadet. What do you lads make of United playing with 2 number 10s? Do you like it? So we just talked about kind of like the different players we have, but with Mount and Bruno on the pitch at the same time, I think it worked okay. The only issue I would have is when I see that, I'll come to you in a second, but for me, when I see that, I think even though they make runs, they're not runs where any centre back of the Premiership can't run with. You know, Mount's not particularly rapid to get in behind, so if he has, it's all about timing your runs rather than being quick enough to get in behind. So Rashford, for example, as we saw in one of the first clips, would force defenders to come back when we were breaking for the goal. Him making a run in behind, defence would be forced to run back. But when you see Mount and Bruno, they have to time their runs because they're maybe not as quick as these guys. So that would be the only issue for me for a number 10. You can't have it all. With Mount, for example, the attribute, a strong attribute, is that he presses really well as a number 10, and he puts a lot in like that in that respect. And his link-up play, as proved with his little touches around the area. I did speak about this the other day, saying that I thought you asked me, Bath, and do you remember when you asked me about his not on the ball? We know about, not off the ball, we know about that, but on the ball. And I think he's got something about him. I do think he's got something about him. If he plays to his feet, he'd pop it off. He'd play a first-time pass or something, which is simple and effective a lot of the time. So I'm quite happy with the number 10 because obviously the 2 10s, because obviously things aren't working out. We've got guys on the bench, as we proved the other day, then come on and change it again. And we've got Haaland, who's identifies as one sort of striker with a lot of different attributes to the other striker or forward guy, which is Xerxes. So we've got options, and it's down to the manager to exploit that depending on the situation in the game. Your thoughts on Cake?
Me, I like a proper number 9, to be perfectly honest. If we're playing with 2 number 10s, it means that we have to have an incredible press. That's kind of why you have like false 9s and things. I think that when you look at the problems that Arsenal have had, I think a lot of it is due to the fact that they don't have an all-out goal scorer who can dominate areas in the box. And when you look at how long it took Man City to win the Champions League, the season they get a proper striker, like a real physical number 9, and also shit Cancelo out on loan, they win the Champions League. I'm not sure those are coincidences, but I like physical strikers that if I put the ball into space, they're going to compete with and win it and stuff like that. But I've nothing against false 9s. I just think that as a midfielder, I'm very territorial. I don't like people coming into my space who I don't think understand how to play midfield. I don't like centre-backs on Monday that say, I can play I'm a very competent CDM. You know nothing about playing in midfield. Go back to, defending your box. And I feel the same way about strikers coming in to play like false 9s and things. Like, unless there's someone like Benzema, who's just a table merchant, which is that he is the second contact in a third man combination, then that's fine. But I want a physical striker that I can put a ball in for him to score from, and that doesn't get in my way. That's my views on it.
So it was asked, the people in the chat were asking earlier about Mason Mount, and should Mount start, say, against Brighton, which is our next game coming up. So if you like a physical striker, are you dropping Mount and putting a forward in there instead?
No, because there's contextual stuff around it, which is that I am of the firm belief that you need 6 weeks of a pre-season to get an athlete up for the 9 months of the Premier League. And I think that, like, if you Mount has had a full pre-season and should be fit.
Yeah.
Xerxes had a week. I think that if you put Xerxes in, you're really begging for an injury or for something to go wrong. And like, we're meant to have a squad now that can compete. And Brighton, I do not like Brighton. I really hope they get relegated. But I think that we should, if we play our football properly and everyone does their system and sticks to their principles and so on, I think we should beat them regardless of if it's Mount or if it's Xerxes. And I would definitely start Mount just to keep Xerxes fit and all those sort of things.
Okay, interesting that. People are really interested in that discussion because start with the number 10s, Mason Mount, and I agree with you about the fitness. Mason Mount should start and do what we did again at the Fulham. Maybe one of these guys come off the bench and do it. A couple more comments here. Just want to touch on halftime. Corner analysis, says Big G. Yes. Always make me laugh when Paul Scholes reacted and put out that short corners are SHIT. Simon Warner's going to bed, so big up Simon Warner. We'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. Big G's saying here, I hate 2 number 10s or false 9s. It boils my something. Chat Sport saying Ivan Toney would make United top 4 contenders. He's a guy with good hold-up play. Because obviously you were talking about.
I do like him.
A guy can hold up, yeah. Midfield's a tough position, says V. Toughest of all positions. That's disputable. For me, if you want to bump heads on that Bath time would hate to play with a Muppet like Harry Kane then.
I'd love to play with Harry Kane. Like, you're talking about one of the best forwards in the world. It would be, I'd learn a lot.
Mount will start, says Chat Sport.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe is that because of the reasons Bath time gave about being match fit? Dropping Mount, says Bila, who would drop him. Xerxes should start on the bench against his V. So I've heard a lot of players, a lot of fans say that Xerxes needs to start after just coming on the scoring. Not always the case, is it? Like you said,
I think if it was like 8 or 10 games into the season, there's something to be said there. But you got to remember, we're still kind of in pre-season for a huge amount of our squad.
Everyone say hi to Johnny Hill. How you doing, Johnny? He's saying, to be honest, I think Xerxes in his 25 minutes proved he is ready to start. If we don't have him up front and we have Mount, Bruno, they will score nothing. He's saying there. Big up, Johnny. Hope you're doing well. And V is saying here, what's the beef with Brighton? Well-run club. Fans are a bit of a nightmare, I suppose, but no worse than any others. And then he's also saying
no,
he's not saying anything. Yeah, that's it.
I don't like Brighton. I don't like Brighton V because they've got Danny Welbeck, who's one of my great loves of football, but also exactly what you're saying, well-run club. I don't think they're a well-run club. I think West Ham are much better than them because West Ham went out and got a trophy. And Brighton are essentially a sort of accountancy firm role-playing as a football club. Like, I don't like it.
It'd be interesting to see, because you're saying about sustainable. You just mentioned they could get relegated after being one of the best teams, most improved teams, or most exciting teams, based on budget. With the way they're
still. Well, I've got four seasons left on my prediction.
Well, the big thing is they've brought in a 31-year-old now as a manager, and they won the other day. They won quite comfortably against Everton. So yeah, that'd be a tough game, I believe, to see.
I still think they're going down in the next 4 years, just the same way Southampton, Swansea. If Andrew's here, like when they had Michu and players, shout out to Oviedo, they did all those sort of things. Yes, Big G, we know you're joking, but I'm not putting that filth up on the thing. You've got to respect other people.
Yeah. Johnny Hill saying, I'm good. How you're doing? And yeah, we know you're joking, Big G. So okay.
It's about intent, and we know it's intent, but not everyone does. But I do have something on corners for you now, Big G. But it's not a huge thing. But you'll be able to see our corner set up. So can you see all of this on Monday? 55th minute, Ahmad taking a corner.
I remember this corner.
Oh, okay, right. Talk me through this. This is quite a long one, I think.
All right. So it's corner to Man United. We got. Oh, can you go back? Yeah, I remember this corner definitely for that. So the ball's being recycled. It's gone wide out here to Rashford, who plays to Casemiro, looking to get a 1-2, and plays it to Mount. And Kobe has a shot that just goes wide. Tries to sort of give the keeper the eyes, play it to the near post instead. But the corner wasn't too good. But we had players like Bruno who could spray the ball, who was deepest. Casemiro does really well here, playing a little 1-2. And it comes played out to Kobe. He maybe called the ball. He was in a good position to get a shot off, which could have usually, I think it was a good opportunity for it to go in. So, yeah, nice bit of interplay there to create this chance. And Kobe stood in a nice area to receive the ball. But just quickly on the corner, if we look at the backup here, so Brighton, Fulham haven't got anyone pushing on to their Maz or Bruno, which would have been scary. I remember Brentford off corners of sort of transitioned on us and countered us. So here we got numbers in the box, but there's not enough movement, and the corner's not too good. You want to get it deep.
What do you think about the setup here? Because you might not be able to see it, but this
I
is
would want to see.
Yeah, this is Kobe Minu, who's on the goalkeeper.
Okay.
We've got Delo and Maguire, who are Delo, Maguire, and Casemiro.
Best headers.
Right. Look where they are, kind of. So they're going to be the guys running in. Yeah. We then got Rashford here, and we've got Bruno and Mount in the areas where the ball could fall. So this is traditionally where you put your best ball strikers. A lot of the time we've seen Anthony for some reason and Sancho in these positions. But I think the change is that we've got our best ball strikers plus our best engines in Bruno and Mount now in that area. So I was just wondering what you think about this corner setup.
Stop right there. So for me, okay, sorry, I thought you were going to run it. So for me, with this corner situation, the two best headers or the three best headers are Casemiro, Maguire, and Delo, possibly.
Yeah.
I think you need to get more of a run-off. I would like to see these guys dropping off just maybe at the edge of the box or just taking another 10 yards back and then attacking the ball. Because when it's two, look, how are you going to, you're jumping, you're not going to have a running jump really from there, are you? Because you're going to clash into a player. Someone's going to block you, a real run. So to make it better, I want to see the guys that are going to be attacking the ball running. As soon as you see the ball about to get played into the box, that's when you make your run diagonally and mix it up and attack the ball like that. So because at the moment, if you look at Maguire, he's got number 8 on him. The ball's flighted into him. He can only jump up. He can't get a running sort of jump. So I want to see your best headers get a run on people. We saw a goal by Onana for Aston Villa on his debut the other day, and he left his marker. They were playing.
Did you ever play NBA Jam when you were younger?
I might have, but why? What's your?
He looked like a basketballer slam dunking.
Okay, yeah.
It's awesome.
But, I mean, he had a running on that. That's what you want to see from your best header. Someone who's got a free run and it's like, come with me. And I'm trying to remember who he's. I looked specifically when he scored that goal. He was being picked up by someone I expected. Who are Villa playing now? I can't even remember. But he should have. I remember watching the guy that was supposed to be marking him and thinking, you got done there. And I didn't expect that from you. I expected better from whoever it was that Villa played the other day. If I knew the team, it would come to me who it was. But I expected better. But then I realized Onana's 6'3". He's a giant of a guy, and he just came in. And from a setup like that, where we've got players in the 6-yard box, they're just occupying things. But your runners who are going to score the headers need to have a running start. And I want to see Man United rather than sitting. I
want to ask you about this then. In pre-season, I noticed a lot of the time that this position here that Rashford is in, we actually started putting Maguire in that position. And Maguire was winning standing headers and knocking it across the box.
Oh yeah, cool.
How do you feel about that for kind of like the first contact in the area?
Yeah, I mean that can work. That's a good idea because he will, have enough about him to do that. But
Yeah,
it's about like
you
the
want a run, don't you?
Yeah, when you see the Onana goal, that ball he's played into the
Yeah.
6-yard box and he's run from maybe almost the edge of the box and made a positive run. You can't stop him once he's like juggernaut. Once he starts moving,
Yeah.
you're not run. So that's what you want to see by your big guys, the Maguires, the Casemiros, the guys that usually are a threat from corners.
All right. The other interesting thing I think about this corner is that Amad Diallo is taking it, and you know that my views on people that take corners. Then normally,
What's your view on that?
Normally the best ball striker in the team.
You don't think he is then? Clearly,
I don't know, because with the left foot, I don't think you should be having Martinez on corners.
no.
But I'd like to see if he's going to be our set piece taker. I'd like to see much more quality than this, because like the area he's put it into is the worst area to put it into for a corner taker, because it is. This is what we call a flat header. What Iwobi is going to do. It's where there's not really any pressure on you because the ball's been put in a bad area, and you can get lots of height, lots of distance, and direction on it. So it's like really, it's the worst. It's even worse than it's like hitting the first man, like when you're crossing the ball. It's the worst thing you can do. And the other thing is that Adama is the outlet here. So all that they want here is one of these players, like up to Bassi, to win the ball and knock it in that area, and that's their outlet. And then Adama is off, and Bruno and Maz, like you've got problems with that greasy bastard. To be honest, it's so fast and strong, it's unreal. But we've got so I think we've got an interesting defensive setup where we've got engine merchants that are going to be able to cover all these areas, like with they're like ants or something. They're going to be whizzing about. Mazraoui, still don't know a lot about him, but he looks strong and fast, and I'm very impressed with what I've seen. And for him to be the last man at the corner suggests that
makes sense.
it means he's got to be he's got to be one of your best wide defenders, because he's going to have the job of staying with a player and also slowing them up. And it's a really big responsibility. But anyway, ball gets played in, and our setup's pretty good. Bruno recovers it, and he plays a ball out here. And this is what I find really interesting, Amonde, because earlier on, we were talking about zones that we want to occupy. So we want someone in this zone here. We want someone around here. Want a player here. And we want a player here, right, as well as on the ball. That is that's basically positional football. We do nothing of the sort here, and this is why people really enjoyed this, and they really enjoyed a similar bit of play we did in the Charity Shield where Mason Mount should have scored a tap in, but Amad didn't get the cross or Mason didn't get the run right. I'm not sure, but what we're going to do here is, as a team, instead of organising ourselves into zones, right, which is what positional play is, we're going to organise ourselves around the ball, which is a different style of organisational football, and it's really really good. So, first of all, Casemiro gets it right. Maguire is our striker at the back post. Bruno, Kobe, everything here looks normal. But as the ball comes in, we play this lovely little combination, and then from here, Casemiro gives what most people would say is a poor ball, right, in academies around Europe, because Mount he can't receive it open, and he can't really receive it to his back foot. So this is something that they wouldn't like people to do. And also the pass that Casemiro gives is a chip pass with the outside of his right foot. That no one wants you to do that at all. This is completely off the cuff 5-side football that we play, and so it combines with Davo, drops it in, and then Mount gets it back to Kobe in acres of space, and all this here, right? This area that has come here is something that has emerged as opposed to being planned. Do you understand this?
Yeah, because there's no one rushing out to Kobe because they're occupied by the guys being pinned because there's numbers there from little combinations that they've played.
But this structure here that we're going to basically, because we're going to play around these three, and then we're going to unleash Kobe. This isn't something that comes from coaching. This is about experience and understanding of spaces and things like that. This is really exciting to me because when you are sort of counter pressing, right? Counter pressing happens before you lose the ball, where you all position yourself relative to the man. So if the ball is lost, you're still in a good position to be able to go and be defensive. It's a difficult concept to get your head around, where you've got to be near enough your marker, but far enough away, so you can affect the play attacking wise, but you can also defend if there's a turnover. Okay. Here, our team are positioning themselves around the ball, and a structure is emerging because of the players are playing in relation to the ball, as opposed to the structure that you get from just occupying spaces.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well explained again.
And you can see it in action here. Like that is honestly, that's really exciting to see from a United side. We haven't done this for a very long time, and I just think it's really cool that we've got so many principles in play here. It's just watch this again. Like even Kobe, who's a 5-a-side player, I think, like as the ball comes out to Rashford, watch how Delo, Casemiro, Mount, and Kobe. So these 4 players here. Yep. Watch how they don't orientate themselves to spaces. They orientate themselves to the ball. If I can just get the buttons to work. Beautiful.
Lovely move.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you want to say on this?
Yeah, I just think once again, I mean, it's all been positive. There's nothing negative. Last year's show, if you recall, Bath Time, a lot of time we were highlighting the issues we had defending and as a team, you know. And most of these 3 slides, whatever, we won 1-0, but we had an opportunity, a chance created, a good press, the goal as well. And now from a corner, turn it over, getting the ball back, starting again and working around the ball rather than which is kind of freestyle or improvising with the players, 3 good players there to create another chance. So it's looking better, and it feels better for us doing an eye test, especially for me when it's not so not having sort of negative issues, you know. So that's just nice to see. It's really nice to see.
Well, I thought that one of the things that I wanted to do this evening was just reintroduce some basic concepts,
right?
Like pressing, zonal play, like relational play, or like how to defend a corner, all these kind of things. So there were moments in the game where we were bad, but there were moments in the game where we were good and we won. And we'll see how we get on. But I just, how annoyed I get with these charlatans, on social media, buying subs and making stuff up and all this. I want this to be an alternative to that absolute dross.
I think like the pressing thing, I'm going to go and rewatch that because just to get a more better understanding of it and how to sort of get our Sunday team, because it's like you can transfer this to your 5-a-side or your Sunday team or the team you go and watch locally, whatever, to observe how they do it and how it works. It has to be. You definitely need to train, I imagine, but you can actually, by watching a show like this, you can actually say, if you're all together, like this is why they have these data analysis rooms where the whole team gets together and they point things out.
Oh, video analysis rooms.
Yeah, video analysis stuff. Yeah, I think it's a good opportunity. So I might show this to our team and say, look, guys, we had an argument the other day about pressing. Here's Man United, a so-called pro team, most boring team in the league, says Andrew, doing it quite effectively and getting a chance created. But obviously, this will cause discussion, and I think you broke it down really well, especially the basics. Can you go back to the basic principles of pressing, that animation again, please, just one more time, just to show how to simplify it. Dictate where the goalkeeper goes, people shuffle over, jumping on to the next man, to the next man.
I can show you something else as well, but I'm not sure how many people are going to be interested in.
Well, I'm asking.
Well, okay. Share entire screen. So here is my notes that I make on football, and these are all the ones that I have on pressing, and pressing traps, and so on. So this is the one here. The high press principles, which are illustrated here, but there's a lot. So I will show you this again, and you can talk us through it.
Yeah, once again, I mean, you've said this throughout the show already, but like the keeper's got the ball, 9's gone over to cover shadow the keeper. Now we've got people jumping on because this is the trigger when the ball's at the sort of left side, the right side of the defender, and giving him no option but to crash it. And in that case, you've got people there picking up the pieces.
Remember, so inside. Players locking on inside. Yeah. So are you happy with that?
Yeah, very, very much so. Number 2, pushing onto their wide guy, reaches defensive line, shuffles over, and you can see everything,
In my opinion, the Sunday League team shouldn't be messing about with the press. I'm having this argument with my team at the moment, where
they want to do it.
Yeah, they want to do it, and I'm like, lads, you can't even receive the ball with your body shape open, like a real basic. How on earth do you think we're going to play a press? Like we can transition to a press, and everyone really loves it, but they seem to want to do a full press, and I'm like, you don't have the fitness, you don't have the we don't have the time to train it, because you also have to train what goes wrong, what to do when things go wrong. And that is one of the big problems you saw last year with United. Do you remember that clip that Jamie Carragher showed about the distance between the defensive, the midfield, and the attacking line?
Yeah.
What happened there, right, is that there wasn't enough pressure on the ball, and the defense recognized it. So when a central defender knows that the player's got a bit of time and space, he's got to drop off and protect the zone. And that is what was happening time and time again from United.
So, for example, I played centre-back on Sunday, and I'm talking and saying when to push up. Now, because we weren't pressing correctly, they were getting time and space on the ball. So I don't think you should push up. I know you don't push up when they've got the ball. You're going like that, and suddenly you have to turn around, and there's loads of space in behind you. So wait. You push up by watching the game, and you talk. Yeah, let's step a little bit, step. So you just take little steps towards it, because you know at this stage of the game, late in the game, we're not closing down. They're going to get that one guy on the ball who can spray a ball or play a key pass. So that's why the defense. So in one sense, the team is saying get the defense line up. But you can't get them up when you guys aren't closing down correctly, or you guys.
That's it. Honestly, pressure on the ball.
Yeah. So
why Mason Mount is so important, because he puts pressure on the ball. It's why Rashford, I felt, had a much better game than I've seen from him in ages. Even when he's been scoring hat tricks and things, it's because he put pressure on the ball. And Ruben Diaz, in my opinion, is not a vastly superior centre back to Harry Maguire. I think actually Maguire might be better from what I saw at the weekend. But Ruben Diaz has players like, Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden, Haaland, even this new bloke, Mahrez too, that they've got from nowhere. They're all putting pressure on the ball. And that is the two key things for a press is access to the ball. And what that means is knowing your distances so that you're able to get there and you're able to shut the angle down and apply pressure. So that is when Big G talks about Bruno's pressing. That's Bruno's big problem, is Bruno, he's not aware enough of the distances of other players in his team, and he just goes off on a one-man mission. But it's about, if you get pressure on the ball, people are going to go, God, Harry Maguire's really turned it round this season. He's doing so well, and he's not doing anything differently. It's the players in front of him. Exactly. That's the important thing. So if you take nothing away, pressure on the ball.
Just loads of comments coming here. We're just going to go through them, guys, because we're going to wrap up very soon. But Kate Cadet saying here, what I don't understand is when teams play out from the back against really good pressing teams. So we saw with Fulham when the goalkeeper tried to play out from the back when he could have just crashed it. When we were pressing really well, we created a chance. So I'm just going to go through the comments, Barton. Just come back to anyone you want to touch on.
I'd like to do Cake Cadets first.
Okay. All right, let's do that.
V's just doing poetry again.
All right.
Like, Kate, I'm going to be completely honest with you, mate. I'm not qualified enough, to tell you what the answer is to this. I played in a youth development league. A basic press pretty much got everyone. The way that I think that they do it, so this is like me judging from the TV as opposed to personal experience. I think that there's a lot of little feints and there's a lot of gimmickry where they try and make a team think they're doing one thing and then they do something else. What I do know is that Manchester City have two very, very standard ways of beating a press. One is a long ball, which they did to great effect with Sergio Aguero. He used to get 2 or 3 goals a season from Edison pumping it when the team was high up and being pressed. But the other one that they do is they are able somehow to create a passing lane to Edison, who then switches it out to their fullback on the far side. And I know what they're trying to do, and I've seen them do it loads of times, but I couldn't tell you without sitting down and studying it what exactly they are doing to get out of it. But teams like Arsenal and Manchester City are doing things that I can't tell you what the theory is or what the reason is, because I haven't got anywhere near that level of experience or ability. Okay, so sorry to disappoint you.
V, I'm going to leave out your talk about him laying salts and bath time. Bath time is really. V saying here, pressing requires players to maintain a high intensity throughout the game. A fit player can sustain energy needed to constantly challenge and press opponents. The standards 101 stuff. V saying also here again, pressing often involves quick sprints, rapid change of direction, fast reactions. Fitness enhances a player's speed and agility. Football is a game of continuous movement, and pressing demands high levels of endurance. Fit players can cover more ground and press for longer periods without experiencing fatigue. Yeah. Is he copy and pasting here from?
This is Chat GT. This is Chat GPT. Okay. Which is fine. You post what you want, and for a long time I've been trying to get a strength and conditioning coach to come on the agenda and talk about these things, because even though you say things like well-conditioned players, one manager that came to our league 25, 30 years ago, probably even longer, was Arsene Wenger. And a lot of Wenger's things were laughed at the time. For example, he used to train Tony Adams, like the rest of them, to run backwards. They used to have drills where they would all run backwards because it used a different part of the muscle, and he didn't feel that they were conditioned enough with it. So even though all these things you're giving us are extremely general, which is good because universals are important, but there's lots of technical things about fitness that work with the press, because Marcus Rashford is one of the fastest players over 15 yards in the Premier League. He'll be extremely fit and stuff, but it's about the endurance over a long distance. And tactically, how do you set that up where Rashford can be able to press continuously throughout a game and also be able to use that explosiveness to sort of score goals? So there's much more to it than just saying players should be fit. You have to kind of like look at their things. And I know it's okay. I know you're using Chat GPT. It's absolutely fine. But you can just put your own opinion in, or you can ask questions. Like, no one's going to laugh at you unless you start saying things like you need pace to play in a high line as a defender, when you will get told off for things like that because it's a load of bollocks. Look at Otamendi.
I think what V's saying here, like, it's all true. Like, especially like when you see Mason Mount, there's a comment here he said about quick movement. So when I was watching the game again, I think I watched the first half at work today. Yeah, I did. I shouldn't say that. Pressing often involves quick sprints, rapid change of directions, and fast reactions. He was hustling like a busy bee, in that area.
Yeah,
really,
and
no one likes to be the pig in the middle, but he seems to cherish that sort of thing, and he done it really well. There's one move where
is what I said about
doing exactly what he's stated here. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, this is what I said about Mount, is that the one thing that I don't think Fred ever got any credit for is Fred is one of the best pressers I've ever seen in terms of the technical things you need to do in a press, which is you want to arrive on the inside when they take their first touch. Do you remember that? That is the hallmark of a technical presser. And also, like, on this show, I know Andrew's obviously gone off to do whatever he does.
Dreamland.
But well, I always talk about players' strides because I think it's really important. And there is, like, if you've been coached at a reasonable level, we brought this up before, about slowing down before you commit, because you have to be equally balanced to go off either foot and stuff. And so what Mount and Fred do that is so good is that when they're in that position to press, and they're putting pressure on, they're able to go off either foot, whichever way you want to go, because they've taken little steps as they get towards them, because smaller players are better at pressing, simply because of the smaller gait that you have, but they're not as good in bigger spaces. And I've said this from the start. I think that Mason Mount is a much, much better Fred. Like, he'll give you the same plus a lot more. So I wouldn't write Mason Mount off yet. My only concern for him is he's got to finish that chance that he had. I think he's got to look after the ball better in the middle of the pitch. And I think he's got to be a bit more powerful with his running to open up lanes and things. But he's Champions League winner. He's a very good player. Give him time. I know people are down on him, but give him time. He looks really good to me.
Yeah, and the attitude's got to be right as well, isn't it? To really want to prove yourself and be the player that you want to fulfill your potential, And I think his attitude is something that you need in the team. People say, he's not, like the thing that's claimed that McTominay, he's not good enough. But no one questions his attitude, and no one's questioning Mount's attitude either. Just a couple more here before we wrap up. Kate Cadet saying, do you think being a good presser is enough to keep Mount in the team? Surely he has to be more than that. But we are trying to press as a team. And if he's doing well, he's ticking those boxes, I think that's effective. Mount is similar to Fred when it comes to losing 50-50s.
Maybe, actually.
And Ten Hag says, Big G, said he signed Mount for set pieces. Why doesn't he take corners?
I don't think anyone's signing Mason Mount for set pieces. You're signing Mason Mount because he does the most amount of, like, recoveries and counter presses up the pitch of anyone in the Premier League. And Kate, with your comment, Firmino at Liverpool, I don't think he scored a goal at Anfield the season they won the league, and I think he got less. I think he got like 7, maybe 8 Premier League goals. So sometimes it's not so much about the easy to see metrics and outputs. It's, does Mason Mount make our team better and stronger? Is the question to ask, and I think he does, and I think a lot of that is because of his energy and his thing up the pitch. And I understand your point of 60 million. You want to see something different, and that's absolutely fine. But maybe I would say judge him like in November. And if you're still of the same opinion in November, fair enough. But I think now is a little bit too early to say he's a waste of whatever.
I agree with you. A work in progress. If he does start scoring goals when he's in that position, say the press starts improving because of him in the team, and then we turn over the ball in the final third, and someone's getting a shot off, and he's getting a rebound, or he's getting a shot off and scoring goals. That's where we're going to start to see the Mason Mount.
Yeah, like Bruno should have scored 2 goals that had a lot to do with Mount's on and off the ball work. And if those had got in, Cake, and we'd won 3-0 or 4-0 with Garnacho scoring that easy one, are you still saying the same thing because he's played a part in
we can't
big chances?
Yeah, you can't answer that now. But which, like you said, it's a good thing to say that come back in November and let's see how, if he gets game time, whether he can be productive and whether his good work is rewarded. You know, because you have to you make your own luck by working hard a lot of the time, and that's how this show has shown how we create some chances today.
We've also shown something else. 69% of our viewers believe that Prometheus is a good film. So I'll have to take
it was 80% at one point, wasn't it? Yeah. Here we go. So fair play to you, Kate, today, saying I will be patient with Mount. I just wish we didn't play the 60 million. Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, look, I'm not here to tell you like what your opinion should be and things. I just think that like we all have biases in life. And for example, if I ask you to say what you think a midfielder should be, I can guarantee you it is wildly different from what I think. You know, like it's probably very different to what Mr. B or a Monday thinks. But we all know what a good team is. A good team scores goals and doesn't concede goals. And does Mason Mount like have an impact in that process? And I think he is. I have seen Alien Romulus V.
At the start of show, Bath Time mentioned at the weekend he went to the cinema to watch it. I'm jealous because I want to watch it as soon as possible as well. So maybe I'll watch it this weekend.
Yeah. No watch along and probably no match reaction this weekend because it's bank holiday.
Yeah.
And certainly no eye test.
Yeah. Well, we will see. We will see what happens with that. But I enjoyed that. Welcome back, eye test, man. That was good stuff, Bath Time. And it's sharp, you know what it is, because the season's starting with football. We're back to playing. You're hopefully getting back from injury, and we'll be playing again soon. And yeah, it sharpens us. It's like mental training that we can transfer as well to our own sort of careers or whatever we're doing on a Sunday or Saturday out there as well. And to Mr. B as well. I'm sure Mr. B's a silent watcher and transferring his views to his team. Yeah. So yeah, big up to you, Mr. B.
All right. Well, I think we're going to end it there, aren't we?
Yeah, for sure. Big up, guys. Thank you so much. Big G's just saying here, last couple, perfect midfielders, Paul Scholes. And I thought it was okay. No comparison to the original. But Spainy is cute.
She's the Ripley stand-in.
Oh, she's new Ripley. Okay. All right. Perfect midfielder, Paul Scholes. By the way, I was watching... I was watching Fiorentina versus Man United the year after he won the Champions League in 99 to 2000. York up front, York and Cole up front, Beckham, Giggs, Scholes and Keane, Irwin, Gary Neville, Stam and Henningberg, and Mark Bosnich in goal. We didn't win the Champions League that year, but I was watching Paul Scholes and he was magnificent. It was a faster pace. He wasn't dictating the tempo like he did later in his career. It was, where we slowed up. It's a bit more
give and go then, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you're right. Actually, you're right. Yeah, but he could still be effective with that style of play as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, really. When you talk about Paul Scholes, complete midfielder, quite possibly.
He couldn't tackle. He wasn't good at winning duels in the air. This is what I mean about how like everyone's idea of a perfect midfielder is different. Like some people say that Keane is a better player than Scholes because he was more defensively sound. It's that's kind of the point. But Paul Scholes is, alongside Busquets, is probably two of my favourite players ever.
And your midfielder, obviously. Before we shut down, obviously, I remember now, someone asked earlier in the show, they felt, someone didn't ask, they made a claim that midfield is the the most difficult position on the pitch. And I did kind of try to push your buttons by challenging you on that. Do you agree?
For me, goalkeeper or striker
is the most difficult position.
Yeah, I think goalkeeper, because goalkeeper and striker, because it doesn't really matter what else happens in a game, to be honest. If you miss that chance or you mess up in goal, it's all on you. Like, so I've always thought goalkeeper or striker, but I mean the most running is midfield.
As a midfielder, you would say midfielder. I was expecting you to say midfielder because you play.
I've always got people to bail me out, and I'm always there to bail people out. But with those positions, I've always looked at them that there's no one there to help you if it goes wrong, really. And so I think that's where I've always found them interesting, those really focused strikers and those really focused goalkeepers, because it is, in some ways, it is just about them. They're like tennis players or something. It's just what they do. And in a midfield, like, I can't run 60 yards. I can't do David Ginola stuff. So I need people to help me around me by making the runs and things. But with a striker and a goalkeeper, it just comes down to them in moments.
But they're saying the midfield hub, or as V's saying here, I said midfield because that's where the game is won and lost. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff.
All right. We're going to end it there. Do you just want to say goodbye to everyone who's been watching?
Yeah, no doubt. Guys, thanks again for tuning in. This is the first series of first episode here of an eye test. And what Bath Time tends to do is watch the game on the weekend usually. I don't think we'll be doing eye tests for the European games or the games with Coco that. But usually on a Monday night, we were going to go back and review games and just talk about the game of football and what Man United are doing really well and what we're doing not so well. There's a series of eye tests. If you ever want to go back and watch them, they're all there to watch. But I think they're brilliant. It helps me, keeps my mind ticking over, keeps me sharp. And I hope you guys enjoy it too. It's like Marmite, but it's great. I think it's great stuff. If you're a connoisseur of thank you. Thanks to you, bro. Big up to Kate Cadet as well. You've been brilliant. We've got Big G in the house as well. Obviously, Andrew was here, but he's disappeared. Shopping Solutions. Did I see Shopping Solutions?
Yeah.
Sport. He was here in the house. Johnny Hill was about. Big up Johnny Hill. Great to have you on board. Bilal was around. He was talking about dropping Mount. And
Steph, Solo.
Yeah, Solo. Simon Warner as well, and Cormac Maguire. I didn't touch on his comment, but he said Casemiro had an excellent game. Big up to you, Cormac. Yeah, and I'll stop there because I think that's everybody. But thanks, guys, for tuning in. Make sure you press the like button and don't forget to watch the new Aliens, recommended by our man.
No, I didn't recommend it.
Well, you said it was good. You said it was 5 out of 10.
I said it was fine, and it was a 5 out of 10. Right, good night, everyone.
All right.